Early life and struggles. Barack Hussein Obama II was born on August 4, 1961, in Honolulu, Hawaii, to an American mother, Ann Dunham, and a Kenyan father, Barack Obama Sr. This union of two worlds, one rooted in the Midwest of the United States, the other in the heart of Africa, formed the foundation of a life defined by complexity and a search for identity. Barack Sr. had come to the U.S. for education, but their marriage was short-lived, and found herself raising her son alone. Obama would grow up with the absence of his father, a figure whose legacy would loom large, despite his physical absence. The early years were spent in Hawaii with his mother and maternal grandparents, where young Barack often felt like an outsider. Though he was surrounded by loving family, the sense of being different was undeniable. He was raised in an environment where racial dynamics were both subtle and stark. Barack was raised by his grandparents, Madeline and Stanley Dunham, who offered him a stable home, but the absence of his father left a void. His father's absence, paired with his biracial identity, left him grappling with questions of belonging, identity, and purpose. At the age of 6, Obama's life took another significant turn when his mother remarried and moved to Indonesia with her new husband, Lolo Sitoro. For the next few years, Obama would live between the bustling streets of Jakarta and the quieter suburban world of Hawaii. While his life in Indonesia exposed him to new cultural experiences and different ways of thinking, it was also marked by isolation. He struggled to find his place in this new world, constantly torn between the island of his birth and the alien culture of a foreign land. It was during these formative years that Obama's experience as an outsider deepened. He often felt disconnected from both the children of his new home and those in Hawaii, unable to reconcile the influences of two very different worlds. By the time Obama returned to Hawaii for his high school years, he was a young man who had witnessed the complexities of life on two continents, carrying a sense of displacement with him. Despite excelling academically, Obama faced the challenge of fitting in, struggling with his identity as a biracial teenager. His classmates in Hawaii were predominantly Asian or white, and Obama's unique background made him feel out of place. He sought solace in books and sports, often retreating to the basketball court or the pages of authors like James Baldwin, whose works on race and identity resonated deeply with him. It was clear that Obama's path would not be a conventional one. His deep inner turmoil over his identity and his place in the world led him to pursue higher education in the mainland U.S., starting at Occidental College in Los Angeles, then transferring to Columbia University in New York. Here, in the vast, sprawling city, Obama would confront new challenges, ones that tested both his intellect and his resolve. College was not just a place for academics. It was where he began to define his purpose and began his journey toward public service. But even in this new environment, the questions that had plagued him in his youth, "Who am I? Where do I belong?" remained unanswered. As he embarked on this new chapter, Obama's struggle to reconcile his two worlds continued to shape him, a challenge that would eventually define his path to politics. He was ready to carve out his place in the world, though the path ahead would be fraught with obstacles, and success was far from guaranteed. But the struggles of his early years had hardened him, making him resilient. Little did he know, these struggles would lay the groundwork for a future that would not only change his life but the future of the nation. The journey to politics. Barack Obama's path to politics began not in the halls of power, but on the streets of Chicago, where he first felt the pulse of America's deep social divide. After graduating from Columbia University, he took a chance on something few others dared: community organizing. In Chicago's South Side, Obama worked with local leaders to address issues such as job discrimination, substandard housing, and racial injustice. It was here, amidst the gritty realities of urban America, that he first saw the potential for change, not from the top down but from the ground up. His role as a community organizer brought him face to face with the raw struggles of ordinary people, teaching him that leadership was about connection, not authority. Despite his growing passion for social justice, Obama struggled to navigate the delicate balance between idealism and practicality. He found that the complexities of political change were more than just well-meaning speeches. They required an understanding of people's real, often messy, needs. His early work was marked by frustration as he fought an uphill battle against a system that seemed indifferent to the very communities he aimed to uplift. Yet, it was this work that solidified his belief in the power of community and collective action. The experience left him deeply changed, convinced that the true work of change had to happen in the trenches, not in the ivory towers of academia. Obama's shift toward politics was inevitable. In 1996, he ran for a seat in the Illinois State Senate. His campaign was an uphill struggle with little money, few resources, and a city riddled with entrenched political machines. Yet Obama's message resonated with voters. He spoke of hope, unity, and a new kind of leadership. His eloquence, combined with his genuine desire for reform, won him the trust of the people. But it wasn't just his speeches that drew attention. It was his ability. As the campaign trail grew steeper, Obama's resolve only strengthened. His story was one of overcoming adversity, of rising above the forces of division to offer a vision that included everyone. But even as his campaign soared, the challenges of this new journey loomed large. Would America be ready to embrace his message of hope, or would the entrenched forces of division and cynicism prove too powerful to overcome? Obama's journey to the White House had only just begun, and the true test of his vision lay ahead. Presidency, triumphs and tribulations. Barack Obama's inauguration as the 44th President of the United States on January 20, 2009, was not merely a personal achievement. It was a moment that reverberated across the globe. America had elected its first African-American president, signaling a monumental shift in the nation's history. The ceremony was filled with jubilation and hope, but Obama knew that his presidency would be defined not by symbolic triumphs, but by the real, often difficult, work of governance. The country was in turmoil as Obama took office. The economy was in freefall, with the worst financial crisis since the Great Depression. Unemployment rates were soaring, and the housing market had collapsed. Obama inherited a nation teetering on the edge of economic ruin, and his first challenge was to address this immediate crisis. His response came in the form of the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act, a bold stimulus package designed to inject life back into the economy. The package was met with resistance from Republicans, who argued it was too costly, but Obama pressed on, determined to revive a struggling nation. Despite the partisan opposition, Obama's approach was unwavering. He believed in the power of government to help, to mend the broken systems that had led to the crisis. Yet, while the stimulus bill helped prevent an even deeper recession, the road to recovery was long and fraught with obstacles. Critics questioned whether the measures were enough, while some argued that Obama's policies were not aggressive enough. But through it all, Obama remained focused on his ultimate goal: creating a more equitable society, where opportunity was available to all. In the midst of this economic battle, Obama tackled another monumental issue: healthcare. The Affordable Care Act, known as Obamacare, was his signature domestic policy achievement. For decades, Americans had struggled with skyrocketing healthcare costs, with millions left uninsured. Obama's vision was simple: a system that provided affordable healthcare for everyone. But the road to passing this law was anything but smooth. It was a fiercely contested battle that tested Obama's leadership and resolve. Republicans fiercely opposed the bill, branding it an overreach of government power, while many Democrats worried it didn't go far enough. Yet, Obama pushed forward, using every ounce of political capital he had to ensure the law passed. The success of the Affordable Care Act was a testament to Obama's ability to navigate the treacherous waters of Washington politics. But his presidency was not without its setbacks. Foreign policy proved to be another challenge. The wars in Iraq and Afghanistan continued to drain resources, while Obama faced difficult decisions about how to navigate global conflicts. The killing of Osama bin Laden in 2011, one of the most significant moments of his presidency, was a victory that demonstrated Obama's resolve in the face of global terrorism. But other foreign policy issues, such as the Syrian civil war and the rise of ISIS, reminded Obama that leadership on the global stage was never without peril. As his second term began, Obama's presidency had become a blend of triumphs and tribulations. His legacy was already being debated. Some saw him as a transformative leader, while others viewed him as a figure mired in controversy. His speeches continued to captivate audiences, not just with their eloquence but with their depth. He wasn't just talking about political strategy. He was sharing the lessons of a life lived at the intersection of personal struggle and public service. Obama's post-presidency speeches carried an urgency, a call for action, urging Americans and the world to combat division, foster understanding, and prioritize empathy over ideology. His presence in the cultural landscape remained strong as well. Obama's memoir, A Promised Land, became a bestseller, offering an intimate look into his presidency. It was not just a chronicle of events, it was a reflection on the ideals that had driven him: justice, equality, and the pursuit of the American dream. Through his book, Obama provided not just a history of his time in office but a roadmap for navigating the difficult moral and political questions that would continue to challenge society. It was clear that Obama's legacy was not only about the policies he passed but about the enduring ideas he had put forth during his time in office. But as Obama continued to speak out on issues close to his heart, it was clear that his greatest legacy might not be the laws he passed or the crises he navigated, but the change he inspired in others. He had shown a generation that leadership wasn't about achieving power, it was about using one's platform to lift up others. His life was a testament to the power of resilience, vision, and hope. However, despite all his accomplishments, Obama's work was not finished. The world he left behind was still filled with challenges: racial injustice, political polarization, and global instability. Obama's influence would continue, but the true test of his legacy would be in how the future generations he had mentored would rise to meet those challenges. His story, once defined by adversity, was now intertwined with the stories of those who would carry his torch forward. The journey that had begun in the streets of Chicago was far from over, and the world awaited the next chapter.